I'm at the Meriwether market, and I'm here. The family of this market are the ones that put these out. I have the beef and ostrich hickory smoked jerky and the camel with beef jerky, and they put out other of these jerkies, these jerky meats uh, with different types of meats. They have buffalo and all kinds of other stuff, but I want to show these maps of where I'm at. This is the Natchez Trace map, and this is the Meriwether Lewis monument and grave. This is the Bell Route that crosses the Trace, and over here is Pulaski and the Davy Crockett Park. So I've already visited this area, and you can see this is the rail route, and Bell was instrumental on these routes as well, the water route, and he led this one along with Dees, the Bell route, and they'll come down here to Shiloh. I'm going to go over here to the Battle of Shiloh. That's where Sam Houston's son was shot, and his life was spared by a Bible that his mother gave him. That Bible stopped the bullet, and he had that Bible over his heart, and that bullet stopped at Psalm 70. And that's on display in Huntsville, Texas, at the Sam Houston Museum. And so this is the Trail of Tears map. It shows where it started out of Georgia, and it shows the Bell route and also the water route. So there's Waterloo, and I've already covered this area, Decatur, on into Tuscumbia Landing, Sheffield, and then I went up to Pulaski, and then through this way, David Crockett State Park, and now I'm on the Trace, the Natchez Trace. I want to mention something. I learned that John Ross, he wasn't on the land route. He either purchased or rented a steamboat. He went by steamboat into the new territory. His wife and baby went on one of these routes, perhaps maybe the Bell route, and his wife would die on the route, but the baby would survive, and the baby would make it into new territory. And also I want to mention about this northern route. They might have taken this route because, now it was in winter, they might have taken that because of the earlier removal of the Pottawatomie and the Delaware from this area, and they moved the Pottawatomie and Delaware into Kansas. That is known as the Walk of Death. That was a very tragic episode as well. Now, John Adair Bell, who died in 1860 in Texas, he was half Cherokee on his mother's side, and he escaped assassination in new territory by being warned by Stan Wadey, because he was a signer of the New Echota Treaty. And I want to mention this about the events leading up to their assassination. Major Ridge, his son John Ridge, and Elias Boudinot. Elias Boudinot was also known as Buck Wadey. That was Stan Wadey's brother. The removal did not originate with, the concept of the removal did not originate with Andrew Jackson. It goes all the way back to Thomas Jefferson and him implementing the Indian trading houses to bring the tribes into debt, where they would have to either relinquish their land or relocate. And if they wouldn't, then he would use force to remove them. And that can be, you can read about that in the Documents of Indian Policy, the 3rd edition, and those original papers are published in book form in that. And so Thomas Jefferson was really the one, but he wasn't the only one. Isaac McCoy, he produced his book in 1827, The Practicality of Indian Reform. Evan Jones was aggressively outspoken against Isaac McCoy, calling him a betrayer to the Baptists and to the native people. Isaac McCoy proposed an Indian Canaan that would incorporate the areas of present-day Nebraska, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Another influencer for Indian removal was Jedediah Morse, and his report was published in 1822. Now, these men, their ideas blurred the boundaries of separation of church and state and the rights described in the First Amendment towards Native people. And those rights that we enjoy, that we are seeing slowly taken from us even today as citizens. But their ideas and mission in their day was for protecting the tribes from white encroachment and extermination. And McCoy advocated for a slow, peaceful removal, which the removal did occur, but it wasn't slow and it wasn't peaceful. And it happened during the winter months. Now, if we're going to understand, or at least what I'm understanding about the removal, it actually goes back to Chief Doublehead of the Chickamauga Confederacy. Chief Doublehead, his life is really as a preamble to the removal process. And he would take bribes from the presidents for land. Doublehead would be assassinated in 1807 by Major Ridge and Alexander Sanders and James Vaughn. Chief Doublehead knew personally George Washington, John Adams, and Thomas Jefferson. He would take government handouts for personal profit. He controlled the cotton trade on the Tennessee River, and his land control caused him to become the most abhorred chief of the nation, of the Cherokee Nation. And he would meet his fate at the hands of Major Ridge, Alexander Sanders, and James Van. And there's different accounts of how he was killed. It was either by a hatchet in the head or he was clubbed in the head. But it's interesting because Elias Boudinot, Buck Wadey, was killed with a hatchet to the head. And it was Doublehead's family that assassinated Major Ridge, his son John Ridge, and Major Ridge's nephew, Elias Boudinot. And it is believed that their deaths were the practice of old Cherokee blood law in the new territory. Chief Doublehead's family had before this removal, they were known as the old settlers in the New West, which is present-day Oklahoma. Now, Chief Doublehead's family is very significant. I mean, you had Chief Doublehead, he greatly inspired and influenced Shawnee war leader Tecumseh. And Doublehead's family included the descendants of Sam Houston, who was adopted by the family, George Lowry, and also Sequoyah. 11 of Doublehead's family would be baptized by Evan Jones. And so Chief Doublehead was not an insignificant player in the history of the Cherokee Nation. And his grave was over here on Highway 72. His grave is over there. There's that historical marker for him over there. And I think it's better shown on this map. Let me see if I can find it again on this map. So you have Highway 72. That's the alternate 72. Over here's the old 72. And I'm sorry. Over here is 72. Then you have the alternate 72. That's the rail route. And so I've covered this area and also went over and seen the historical marker where Doublehead's unmarked grave is. And then I went up to Pulaski and then on over through Davy Crockett State Park and up here to Meriwether Lewis Monument. And I'll come back down, pick up the Bell Route, and go back to over here to Shiloh to see. That's the battle place where Sam Houston's son was wounded, and the Bible saved his life. literally, it stopped the bullet, and it stopped it at Psalm 70. So I just wanted to share this map, these maps, and mention about John Adair Bell and his influence. He was half Cherokee, and he was friends with Stan Wadey and others. He knew them personally. And so it's exciting to learn more about these men on this trail.